Hello and welcome back to Fire Emblem The Last Promise 0% Growth's low turn count playthrough. This video will be tackling chapters 4 and 5. We get no new units in chapter 4, but we do get one in chapter 5. That one new unit will be talked about then, and in chapter 5X, which is the first guiding chapter. This chapter, we need to get Siegfried over to the boss, because the boss is super annoying. She's an archer with 10 speed, so nobody can double her, 1 to 2 range, and a bow that has 10 crit. She's also standing on a fort, so she's dodgy as hell. We at least still have the ability to one-shot these nomads with some of our units, but they're still not great, and this is going to be one of the last few enemies that Corbin can double, because the nomad is weighed down by a steel bow. Inanna had a javelin equipped after killing Gerard, and she kept it equipped so that she can slimlines kill this nomad. We need to chip down the nomad in some way to get it out of the way, because we cannot have Inanna be able to be attacked. Shuda is capable of unarming this nomad. Short bows are awful in this attack. They have 1 to 2 range, and they still grant double weapon experience, which is great when they're on our side. However, when they're on the enemy side, they're really annoying. That knight that showed up in chapter 1 will be showing his face fairly shortly. Siegfried is capable of one-shotting these myrmidons with a new thought, which is really fun. When I said it's just a good beat stick, I meant it. This is Tomiko doing her baiting duties again. You will be seeing a decent amount of this. Again in the next chapter. There are a couple bits of spaghetti in this, as it were, because I forgot exactly how to do this, because I had to re-record this just before I filmed it. That knight on screen is a new recruit. I was lying when I said we got no new recruits apparently. Sean gets B swords here. We've newly broken the piercing sword, but that's fine. We don't need it much after this map. This knight is named Kevin. He's bad. He has 3 speed, he's really heavy, so no one can carry him. He has 4 move. He cannot double anything, his starting bulk is not great, and his base skill is atrocious. He doesn't even have the decency to join with C-rank lances. He does have a decency to fight the boss and get tanked. I don't know why that shows combat stats outside of combat has 8 at doing 5 damage. Siegfried's S-rank swords bonus comes in clutch multiple times in this chapter, allowing him to one-shot that mercenary that he doesn't double, and giving him an extra 5 crit. He has 10 skill, the boss has 0 luck, and he has S-rank swords, so we can pull 10% crit on the boss, which is the highest crit rate we've had outside of that one mercenary that got extra crit by Sean's piercing sword. Which is lucky for us. Oh, sorry, Siegfried has 9 skill. He's able to one-shot Ada with a crit. Alternatively, he can kill her over player phase and enemy phase if Kevin hits twice. That's the end of chapter 4. The boss drops an elixir and we dropped one of her vulneraries. We could have had Kevin take one of them, but we're not gonna need them. The elixir is just a strict upgrade. I'll bring you chapter 5 in just a second. Chapter 5 is another Seas map, and it's fairly annoying. This is the only map that will begin from a resumed chapter, because we need to skip a cutscene at a specific frame, which happened once during my Order of the Crimson Arm run. There's a lot of nomads near the start of the map, and we need to work to take them out for the first couple of turns. We get a new unit, the monk, Arthur. His base stats are kind of and he joins at level 1. However, we do give him some investment. There was a possibility at one point of him promoting and getting C-rank staves, however that possibility never came to fruition. Which is unfortunate, because Arthur is probably my favorite unit to use in a growth sprint. You can see that these enemies are starting to stop messing around, as though they were earlier. Tomiko is able to be a warm body to trade items around at least, and this is the one map where Kevin really gets to shine. He's able to put his 4 speed to work by chipping enemies. At least he has half-decent strength. This chapter is one of the least reliable, and probably the least reliable chapter in the early game of TLP. At one point, Shuda got crit by that shortbow nomad, which didn't kill him, it just dealt more damage. I just thought it was funny and worth pointing out when I was planning this chapter, at least. Most of my units are going to be mainly raiding the treasure room, because that's a thing in this map. There's also a specific room that has seemingly no purpose. We need to go there for the Gaiden. We need to start clearing enemies out of the way. This door key is critical. We don't have a thief yet. This map is when Siegfried becomes a frontline. In a Groats run, you'd rather have Sean and Corbin doing this because they gain more experience. However, Siegfried has the best 1 to 2 range combat of those two now. So. Arthur has decent res and okay enough speed, and he's capable of doubling some of the enemies on this map. We need to work on baiting that one nomad over, and Shuda is capable of one right. We're gonna stop fighting nomads after this chapter. Pretty much. I think there might be a few in the next chapter. The next chapter is a defense map, and it'll be the first time I have a co-commentator along. So look forward to that. I know everyone loves defense maps. Kevin's vulnerary use may not be necessary 100%, I just forgot. That room with the shaman is the room that we need to go to. It looks kinda pointless, because it is. However, we need to have a unit end their turn within that room. Tomiko's baiting, yet again, comes up. Kevin has lower res than Siegfried, which is another going for him, which is good, because he deals more damage in one hit than Siegfried will. Even though Siegfried would double, it means we save more uses on Siegfried's javelin. That vulnerary use was totally necessary. That nomad is now in a forest, which you'd think would be annoying, and it is a little bit. Shuda is perhaps the best combat unit for the next few maps of this mode. He does get outclassed by a unit who joins in Chapter 7, and in some aspects a unit who joins in Chapter 5X. However, that doesn't mean he's bad. Never is he bad. The reason we use the Emblem Lancer instead of the Iron Sword is purely in case I would be capable of getting Corbin through C-rank lances to use the Killer Lance at some point. However, that's just better off used on Siegfried. Sean nearly breaks the piercing sword in this map, and that's a little worrying. However, he's already at B-rank swords, so he can already use every sword he needs to be able to use, so he'll be fine. The boss is a nomad, and he has a short bow, so he's gonna be annoying to take care of. Myrmidons are starting to be a somewhat common enemy type as well, and they're always going to be annoying to take care of because few of our units will be capable of doubling them. Those two chests on the side. There's another chest on the left. It contains, I believe, a Draco shield. However, we simply do not have the time to get it. I was able to revise to obtain an 8-turn clear, which is what this ends up being, that obtained the Draco shield at one point, but I had to completely ditch that because it was too unreliable and I couldn't replicate it. We focus on feeding Arthur kills over anyone else because he was potentially useful. He also only starts at E-rank alive, and we'd like to dig him out of that hole at some point. There is a chance that if he was able to be dug out of that hole, he could have been able to do what a unit that joins Chapter 5X does when he rejoins an Anakin mode. That's the other thing that holds Arthur back. He would have been able to be promoted and possibly get up to good rank, good staff rank, like Physic, if only he existed for longer. There's one chapter that we use the hell out of in order to get units' levels up, but we can't because for Arthur, he simply doesn't exist in that map. The Slim Lance is still a useful weapon even though it's weak, because it has high accuracy. Secret has a very high chance of death throughout this chapter. He has to dodge at least 2 of these mages' attacks on enemy phase. Preferably, he kills all of them as well. We can start heading over to the treasure room, which is nice, because there's some really good stuff in those chests. One of them is a Lance Weaver, which Shooter can use at base, and we want to. We want it for the next map, because there's a scary Killer Lance Cavalier. On top of the fact it's just a good, decent filler weapon. We wanted that mage dead, and the only units that can take a hit from it now would have been Sean and Kevin, but Kevin couldn't reach it. We needed that mage by the throne dead as well. Nana takes the door key because she can stay behind, whereas Sean has something better to do with his time. These nomads fighting does nothing for us. In fact, it only makes things harder for us because it burns a random amount of our ends. The Tao's nomads all have short bows, whereas the Flora nomads have steel bows. They are better statted, and they aren't capable of getting a 1% crit. They actually have steel bows and short bows, depending on what is needed. Sadly, the nomad that we obtain is not in that group, but he'll be talked about next map. We're down to the last couple of turns on this map, which is good, because it's starting to drag on. This is the longest map of Secret mode that isn't a defense map, as far as I can recall. It's tied for being the longest. You might have noticed by now that I'm not doing the meme thumbnails I did before. That's because I don't really find it worth it. I was also able to get the boss kill on that 8 turn to a unit that to Arthur. Someone I used to call a friend assisted me with clearing this map and finding all this RNs. I'll still give him vocal credit, but I don't talk to him anymore. Del, thank you for your help. You made this map not hell to finish on my own. Sean's level is getting pretty high, and it's gonna slow down his experience gain. He leaves Secret mode, I think, 30 experience away from level 10. And he's capable of getting that very easily by just picking up a kill on a soldier in Chapter 18. However, he doesn't kill that soldier. He does something different in that map. This other chest contains 5,000 gold. It's not really that relevant, but we had the chest key uses, and there's very few chests that matter after this, that we can't just get the thief that we get. We opened this room for a specific purpose. There's a talisman in here. There's no indication of this whatsoever, you just kinda have to know, and that's necessary for the Gaiden chapter, which grants access to a unit early, and it grants us access to his personal weapon, which you wouldn't otherwise get. Anyway, that's it, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time alongside someone else for a defense map. Yippee!